This episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the leading vertically integrated cannabis operators in the U.S., with operations now in 12 states, with 35 dispensaries, 12 cultivation sites, and 10 processing facilities up that have served more than 100,000 registered medical marijuana patients. With that kind of footprint, Curaleaf knows they have a responsibility to do things right, which is why they spend a lot of time helping to educate their customers about the best ways to utilize medical cannabis and why they pour so much energy into their robust research and development programs. And because Curaleaf has been operating in states requiring vertical integration, it's had the chance to build expertise in the whole cannabis supply chain, from cultivation through dispensing. Learn more about all the good work that Curaleaf does and find the closest Curaleaf dispensary to you over at curaleaf.com, which is spelled Curaleaf. That's curaleaf.com. Big thanks to everyone over at Curaleaf for supporting today's show. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Wednesday, January 16th, 2019, and you're tuned in to episode 645 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. Today starts us off much of the way we've started off this week's first two shows, with the headline about a major pro-cannabis statement being made by a governor. But this headline is that storyline on a very strong cup of espresso, as 4 different state governors took time yesterday to praise, in one way or another, legal marijuana. Marijuana Moment has a good roundup of the day's flurry of cannabis gubernatorial mashups, as New York Governor Andrew Cuomo released details for his plan to legalize marijuana in the Empire State. Neighboring New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy called for legal cannabis during his State of the State address. New Mexico's new governor, Michelle Lujan Grisham, talked about her support of adding opioid addiction to her state's list of medical marijuana qualifying conditions. And lastly, Washington State's Chief Executive Jay Inslee spoke of a criminal justice reform program adopted in his state to help people clean up cannabis charges on their records during his State of the State address. Lots to unpack there, so I'd start today's news dive off by opening this one up in full. As always, we have all the news we cover linked to on our website at mjtodaydaily.com and on our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily. Canadian marijuana company Tilray just announced details for a huge partnership deal it's entering into with the Authentic Brands Group, or ABG, the corporate parent of clothing companies like Aeropostale, Nautica, and Nine West, that will have Tilray develop marijuana products that will be sold in ABG's stores alongside their own branded products. Think Nine West CBD foot cream sold along Nine West shoes. The deal will give Tilray access to a huge distribution network in the U.S., as ABG has more than 4,500 brick and mortar shops. Terms of the deal will have Tilray pay ABG $100 million in its first year, and then up to $250 million annually as sales rev up. Canada.com is a great detailed write-up of this one, which I'd also read today. This is a huge deal that will put cannabis brands in front of a lot of mainstream shoppers. Our final top story today swings us out to Michigan, where a new medical marijuana industry trade group is calling for the state to do something about the rampant shortage of medical marijuana products that are plaguing Michigan's medical marijuana system. Right now, there's a severe shortage of medical marijuana products in Michigan's licensed medical marijuana shops, caused by a new state rule that went into effect at the start of the year that bans caregivers from selling to dispensaries, leaving only licensed providers to fill in. That sounds okay in principle, but in the real world, a shortage of licensed providers has meant scant offerings for medical marijuana patients shopping at licensed dispensaries, or provisioning centers as they're formally known in Michigan. Michigan Radio picked up on the call by the newly formed Michigan Cannabis Industry Association for state officials to do something about the shortage. Michigan has one of the largest pools of registered patients in the nation and is in the midst of legalizing adult use following a successful ballot measure in the fall, so this storyline has a lot of legs. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out in headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, Curaleaf, one of the leading vertically integrated cannabis operators in the United States, with a total of 35 dispensaries, 12 cultivation sites, and 10 processing facilities. But Curaleaf is more than just a group of cannabis businesses. It's also one of the top legal marijuana consumer brands around. Since Curaleaf operates in a lot of states that require or allow vertical integration, it's been afforded the opportunity to develop a world-class brand in its Curaleaf retail products, with Curaleaf vape cartridges, capsules, lozenges, vape pens, and concentrates, helping more than 100,000 patients find the relief they seek. Curaleaf also recognizes the need for quality CBD products, which is why they launched their Curaleaf hemp line. Swing over to Curaleaf.com to learn more about this very cool company and to see if there are any Curaleaf shops near you. That's Curaleaf.com, which is spelled Curaleaf. Curaleaf.com. Thanks again to everyone at Curaleaf for helping make today's news possible. All right, time for the Blitz. Returning today's top headline with some more detail, we spin out of the story of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's just released plan for legalizing adult use in New York State, which we've covered extensively here on the Daily over the last week and month or so. Yesterday, Governor Cuomo's office published the details for that plan, which include a 20% state sales tax and a 2% county tax on wholesale sales made to dispensaries. Cannabis in New York State would be legal for folks 21 years of age and up and would generate around $300 million in taxes and fees. A new report just issued by ArcView Market Research and BDS Analytics estimates that the global legal marijuana industry saw more than $12 million in sales last year, up from $9.5 billion the year before that. I should probably disclose that MJ Today Media and ArcView have some overlap, as ArcView CEO Troy Dayton is a good friend of mine and a very infrequent regular on our weekly podcast Marijuana Today, whose host Chris Lotlicker actually wrote the very first market report before selling it to ArcView many years back. The new report projects that 2019's totals will be a healthy $16.9 billion. Not a bad industry to be in. The state of Hawaii has had a functional medical marijuana program for the last year or so, but as of yet has not seen the opening of a medical cannabis dispensary on its Big Island, the second most populated of the state's 7 major islands. Yesterday, news dropped that that situation is about to change as the Hawaii State Department of Health certified a company to open up a dispensary in the town of Hilo, which will be the 7th dispensary to open up in Hawaii. The Alaskan city of Fairbanks brought in just under $1 million in legal marijuana taxes and fees for 2018, up from a projected $600,000 or so that it thought it would see. The city imposes a 5% sales tax on legal cannabis, so the math works out to around $20 million in retail sales in all. This is a headline that every town and city finance officer in the United States really needs to see. CBC News has an interesting story up about some of the lessons being learned in Canada right now in regards to legal cannabis supply. Specifically, the story looks at the company OrganiGram, which says it grossly underestimated the demand on the Canadian market for pre-rolled joints and cannabis oil, the latter of which makes up half of the company's medical business. The translation from Canadian markets to U.S. markets isn't perfect, but if you're not closely watching what's going on up there, you're doing something wrong. I'd read this one today, too. Washington state is the only state in the U.S. that allows for legal cannabis adult use sales, but that bans the growing of cannabis at home by non-medical users. 2 newly introduced bills in the Washington state legislature aim to overturn that. The proposed bills, introduced together in the state House and Senate, would let adults of age grow up to 6 plants at home, with as many as 15 being allowed in households with more than 1 resident. Keep your fingers crossed on that one. And finally for today, William Barr, President Big Mac's pick to become the new Attorney General, was questioned by U.S. senators yesterday as his confirmation hearings kicked off. Kyle Yeager wrote up a good one on this over at Marijuana Moment, with the big news being Barr's pledge to not go after state legal cannabis operators following state marijuana law. I think one of the more interesting aspects of this one is just how many U.S. senators there are now in power who are on our side, with Democrats Cory Gardner of New Jersey and Kamala Harris of California and Republican Senator Cory Gardner of Colorado pressing Barr on cannabis issues, another one that's definitely best read in full. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at MJTodayDaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, Cureleaf, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the illustrious ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today. Today.
One take, Shay. One take.